guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about one of the most exciting topics for a video ever, and that is of course my Kindle. I am the absolute biggest fan of Kindle. I love this thing. This comes with me everywhere and I absolutely love it. So I figured I would do a video talking about which Kindle I have, how much storage, how it works, pros, the cons, and everything there is to know about it in case you're thinking of getting one, or maybe you already have one but there's a couple things that maybe you don't know. And then towards the end of the video I'm also going to give some book recommendations that are free on Kindle Unlimited, so you can add some of those books on your TBR. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get started. Subscribe if you haven't. Right now I'm posting every single day for Bookmas, but I also post very consistently the rest of the year as well. So subscribe, follow all my socials, everything is linked below, and let's get into it. So the Kindle that I personally have is the Amazon Kindle Paperwhite, the Signature Edition, and it has 32 gigabytes of storage. I got this as a gift from Valentine's Day last year and I have been using it non-stop. Mine's also in this really stunning agave green color, which I think is only a color that is available if you get the Signature Edition. Honestly, I don't know if you really need the Signature Edition, because from my understanding the only difference is that you can charge it wirelessly, so you can just like put it on a little charging thing and it will charge. But I literally have never used that. I didn't even realize that until I was researching for this video. It comes with a little charger and I just plug it in and it charges perfectly. I've never had a problem with it. Because I have such a gorgeous green color as the background, I do have a clear case on it, so I will link this case and all my accessories and everything on my storefront if you're looking and getting the same ones. This is the only case that I've had since I got it because I absolutely love it. I'm able to add a bunch of stickers and little notes and like random things in the back of it, and so it's like perfectly customizable. I haven't needed to get anything else. And one of my absolute favorite things is this pop socket. I think it is adorable. It makes it super easy to hold at night. And one thing that you might notice is that mine is not perfectly centered. I feel like a lot of people put them right in the center, but I found that usually I read with like my right hand because that's my dominant hand, and so having it here just makes it so much easier to hold versus if it had to be like right here, if that makes sense. So definitely play around with it before you commit to where you want to put your pop socket. I've seen also other people put like a double pop socket where there's like one here and one here so you can switch hands. I honestly don't really have that problem because if you want to hold it with your left hand you can just like kind of hold it as is, like it's not the end of the world. So first we're gonna talk about the pros of this, and honestly the reason why I realized I even wanted this in the first place was because it is so portable. As you see, it's literally tiny. It is so thin and so small, and I'm somebody that travels a ton. I'm literally on a flight every 3 weeks for one reason or another, and so having the option to bring my books with me on the plane without taking up a ton of storage has been absolutely life-changing. I do have a long distance boyfriend that I go back and forth visiting very often. When I'm at his place, I also again don't really want to be having to bring multiple books from my bookshelf, but I also don't want to end up being at his place with no books to read, even though I do have some of my physical books over there. So having this is literally so fun. You also don't really need to limit on how many books you can bring, because if I were to bring the physical books I could only fit like maybe 1 or 2 in my carry-on, but then what happens if you get to your destination and you realize that you hate the book? So I absolutely love having this because you can just load this up full of your favorite books or books that you think you might enjoy, and then if you're not feeling one you can just easily switch to another one and you're not like tied down to reading only the books that you brought with you. But also even in my day-to-day life I bring this with me everywhere. It fits in pretty much like every single purse, so I bring it with me when I'm running errands. If I have a dentist appointment and I have like 5 minutes to read before the dentist calls me in, I can easily just whip this out and start reading. Same thing with doctor's appointments or any kind of errands. This is so easy, and it helps me get more reading done in the long run because I have it accessible all the time. And now you might be thinking that you can easily do that with your phone or if you have an iPad, and yes you could. However, this has some like sort of like smart technology, so it makes it a lot easier on your eyes because of the way the backlight is set up. I don't really know the science behind it all, but I do know that it is a lot easier on the eyes and it doesn't strain your eyes as much as any other devices do, so I do love that. Basically everything that I do on my day-to-day is on a computer, whether I'm filming, editing, posting videos, watching YouTube, watching Netflix, everything is on a screen. So having this kind of be easier on the eyes helps me out a ton because it allows me to have a hobby that doesn't require screen time, if that makes sense. Also you can change the brightness on this. You can make it more warm tone or cool tone based on what you prefer. There's also dark mode, which I tend to use a lot, especially like at night. You can also customize like so many other parts of it. So you can change if you want it to be more compact if you want it to be standard, if you want it to be large. You can change the font. How bold do you want the text to be? The size of the text. It goes all the way to tiny and also super, super large. And then you can actually change the kind of font. So there's different types of fonts. So you can choose which one's easier for the eyes or which one you just like aesthetically the most. I think I use this one. There's also this one. It says Open Dyslexic. I wonder if that actually helps. And then for the layout, you can choose the orientation, you can choose the margins, how you want them to be, the spacing of the pages and like the lines in between. So this is really, really customizable. Another thing that I really love about this is that it is water resistant. I don't think you can just like drop it in the water for long periods of time. I think after a while it will start to cause damage, but if you want to bring it in the bath or you're relaxing and you just want to read, if like a little bit of water gets in there, it's not really a big deal. Also, if you want to bring it to the beach and then it accidentally gets wet, like that's also not a big deal. So when you're spending a bunch of money on like something that's like electronic that you don't want it to get ruined, it's really nice feature to have that. Another really big pro with the Kindle is the battery life. Like, I was not expecting it to last as long as it does, but this has up to 10 weeks of battery life, and I've never actually like sat to calculate and measure that, but I do realize that it's very rarely that I need to charge it. The battery lasts forever. Even if I read on it for like multiple consecutive nights in a row for multiple hours, the battery does not drain easily at all. It just like lasts a really long time. I think I charge it maybe like once a month or once every other month or literally something crazy like that. And then also when you do need to charge it, you can just like easily plug it in. I usually just plug it in overnight and then wake up the next day and it's like fully charged. So I think it does charge also very quickly. Also, another really important pro, and which is why I love this and use it so much, is that it's honestly just so comfortable. I'm a big night reader. I like to read in bed. I like to read like in comfy positions, and sometimes when you have a physical book, it's kind of hard to hold it up, like your fingers start to hurt or you can really like lay on your side. But this one, it's so comfy. I can read laying down, I can read like this, I can read like this, I can read sitting up, I can read in the car. But it is honestly so comfortable. Your hands never really get tired. Also, the book is not going to get damaged. If you have like a physical copy of a book and you're laying down in bed, it's like kind of hard to like switch the pages, like you're on the covers. I don't know how to explain it, but it is literally the most comfy way to read in my opinion, and it is my preferred method. And also, on a related note, this has like a backlight, so even if you're reading at night, you don't need to have a little lamp clamped onto your freaking book, or it's clamped onto like a headband or anything like that. You can just like be in absolute darkness in your room, ready to sleep, but then the Kindle will light up on its own, and I absolutely love that. It makes it easy, and anything that can make my reading experience as easy and comfortable and efficient as possible, I love that. Another thing that I really enjoy is it tells you at the bottom left what part of the book you're at. It tells you how much time you have until the end of the chapter, until the end of the book. It also shows you the percentage, how far into the book you are, and to me that's just like super motivating, because as I'm reading, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm already halfway done. I'm reading so fast and I feel like I get so much reading done. I absolutely love being able to see how far in the book I am. But also, if you're not wanting those statistics, you can just like tap on them and turn them off. So that's really nice. I love how customizable it is. Also, I feel like a lot of people generally say this. Everybody says that they read faster on the Kindle. I don't know exactly the science behind this. I've never sat to measure how quickly I read on a Kindle versus a physical book, but I do feel like I read really fast. I feel like the reason why I'm able to get more books done is because it's so easy to just like pull it out when you have like a moment of free time. Like I said, sometimes I pull it out in the parking lot if I'm waiting for my order, if I'm waiting to pick somebody up and they haven't shown up yet and I have like 5-10 minutes to read. I can easily just pull out my Kindle and start reading, versus if you have a physical book, I don't usually bring physical books with me unless if I know I'm going somewhere where I'm gonna have time to read. That is partly why I read faster on my Kindle. Also, it does save you a little bit of time. Like, I know switching the page is not that much time, but if you have to switch the page like 600-700 times while you're reading a book, I feel like the time in that might be the reason why it takes people longer, because it does add up, versus this, you can just like tap and it just goes on to the next page. And also, I feel like I read on my Kindle for longer periods of time, because again, when you have a book, it's kind of harder to luggage it around. If you're like reading in bed, sometimes my fingers get tired and it's like takes too much effort to hold it up and turn the pages and all of that, versus if you just have a Kindle, it's so easy to just like keep holding it up until you essentially fall asleep. Another really big pro for me personally is that I don't need to buy the physical copy of every single book I ever want to read, because there's been times where I spent money like $25 to $30, because that's how much paperbacks cost in Canada, to buy a book, and then I absolutely hate it. I rate it 2 stars. So I feel like this has saved me so much money, because there's so many books that are available on Libby or Kindle Unlimited, and we'll get it more into that later. That way I'm kind of able to test the writing, test the author, test kind of the storyline, and then if I decide that I don't like it, I can just return it without having spent $25 on a book that now I'm going to be forced to have because I paid for it at full price. So now moving on to how you can get books on the Kindle, because if you never had a Kindle, it might seem a little confusing, but there's multiple ways to get books for your Kindle. I personally use 2 or kind of like 3 main methods in order to download books on here. The first one is Libby, which Libby is an app that you connect to your local library. You have to have a library card, which is free or like relatively cheap depending on where you live, and then you link that to the Libby, and then you link your Libby to your Kindle, and that way you're able to borrow books for free from your library's kind of catalog. And another really popular method is having Kindle Unlimited. Now Kindle Unlimited is a paid subscription through Amazon. I personally pay it, I think it's like $10 or $15 a month, but to me that's like super worth it because I read so many books. The Kindle Unlimited, because I don't have that much storage, I only really buy the physical copy of books that I absolutely loved, like my favorite series and all of that. To me, spending $10 to $15 a month is a lot cheaper than having to buy each and every book for $25. Like, to me, if I read even one book a month from Kindle Unlimited, it ends up like kind of evening it out, you know, girl math. And the good thing is that if you really enjoy a book that you have on the Kindle, you're able to highlight things on the actual Kindle, and then if you decide that you want to buy the book later on, you can always just go into the book, find what page you're on, and transfer your highlights onto the physical copy so that you have it annotated on there as well. And also, if you like read a book and then delete it, your highlights do get stored on the Kindle, so it's not like it completely goes away. So that's always really good. Now going on to the cons, we kind of dabbled into them a little bit, but Kindle Unlimited subscription, which is where I get most of my books, does cost money. Again, to me, it's really worth it because it literally costs less than a single book, and I tend to read multiple books off of Kindle Unlimited every single month, so to me it kind of makes sense, especially because I do have a really big selection. We're going to be going over some of my recommendations at the end of the video, but they have a lot of popular books, popular series, new releases. They're just included, and then you can read them for free, or like not for free but included in your $10 a month subscription. Unfortunately, there's a cap to Kindle Unlimited because you can only have 20 books downloaded from Kindle Unlimited onto your library. So if you do have like a 21st book that you want to read, you do have to return one of your other borrowed books in order to kind of make space for this one. However, I haven't personally had a problem with that. I can easily just like return, like 20 books is a lot of books that are strictly off of Kindle Unlimited, and like I said, you already get to keep your highlights, so like I can very easily find a book to return, and then if you want to re-download it later, you still can. I've never had a problem with that personally, but it's kind of like just so you know. The honestly biggest and only con out of all of this is that you don't get to keep the physical books. I'm a big trophy enjoyer. Like I said, if I enjoy a book and I love it, or if I love a series, I do want to have a physical copy of it in my room so that I'm able to see it and admire it and maybe like go back into it, look at my tabs and all of that. But these are on a borrowed kind of basis. And then also, if you were to use Libby to get books, which again is like the free way to download books, a lot of the times the waits are long time. Like, there's many books that I want, especially if they're popular, if they're trending on Book Talk, if they're new releases. It takes forever to be able to get access to those books. Then I want to go over some book recommendations that are on Kindle Unlimited. So if you do decide to pay the $10 subscription, these are all the books that are available. Depending on when you watch this video and maybe what country you're from, these might be slightly different. I don't know if they stay the same across different Amazon websites, like Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon whatever country you're in. I don't know how their contracts work and if they stay the same, but the examples that I'm going to give are books that are available on the Amazon.com, because my boyfriend bought this American Amazon and then sent it to me, so it is linked to his Amazon account. But also, depending on when you watch this video, I feel like the contracts sometimes change from year to year. So if you stumble upon this video in like 3 years from now and one of these series is no longer free on Kindle Unlimited, don't come for me, okay? But as of right now, these are the ones that are available on Kindle Unlimited that I have personally read or that I have downloaded didn't have on my TBR. I'm gonna talk about these in different genres, starting with romance because I'm a big romance girly, and just go over some of the most popular, well-known books, releases, and all of that. So first up we have Anna Wang. I'm pretty sure like every single one of her books is on Kindle Unlimited. I personally read the Twisted series on there first and fell in love with it, and then I ended up buying the physical books. I also know that her Kings of Sin series are also available on there. We also have the Windy City series by Liz Tom Ford, another one of my absolute favorite series. Well, minus the first book, we're gonna pretend it doesn't exist, but I did start reading the series on my Kindle because I had it on Kindle Unlimited, and that is why I saved myself $25 by not buying the first book that I absolutely hated, and then I started reading the second book on Kindle Unlimited and realized that I loved it and literally stopped halfway through, ran to a bookstore and bought the physical copy, and then I have the physical copies of all the other books because I love the rest of the series. We also have the Dreamland Billionaire series, the Eden series, very popular series, very similar to Chestnut Springs. We have the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher, the Addicted series. If you haven't read that, I know I personally haven't read that, but it is on my TBR. So the fact that it's on there for free and I can try out the series without committing to buying the physical copy of 10 books for the series, and then I can choose whether I want to buy the physical copy or not. We also have the Brutal Prince series by Sophie Lark, which is a dark romance, like a dark mafia romance from my understanding. Okay, and also on the topic of mafia dark romance, we also have the Dark Verse series. So I read The Predator, which is book 1 of that, for free on my Kindle Unlimited. Another book on my TBR is Binding 13. I feel like everybody knows the series and everybody loves the series, but if you're unsure if it is for you, you can read it on there for free. Same thing with the Off Campus series by Elle Kennedy. I also saw on there while I was quickly browsing, prepping for this video, that Say You Swear is on there, which I went to the bookstore with the intention of buying Say You Swear, and I saw that it cost $30 for the paperback, and I was like, I've never read anything by this author. I don't even know if I'm gonna like this book. I really don't want to spend $30 on a paperback. Then we also have the whole Chestnut Spring series by Elsa Silver, super popular, and also Wild Love is on there as well. Is the Knock 'Em Out series by Lucy Score. So if you've been wanting to read that, that's probably a good one to read on Kindle because those books are thick. They're like 600 pages or something like that. So instead of having to carry a freaking brick everywhere with you, you can just read it on your Kindle. Moving on to mystery and thriller, we have the Mindfuck series. As you can see, I have it here. I originally read this on my Kindle and I read it so fast and I was obsessed with it. So then I ended up going out and finding this little book as a trophy. I say little, it's not little at all. It is literally so thick. It's a massive book. We also have Frida McFadden. Frida McFadden has pretty much, I think, all of her books on Kindle Unlimited, or at least she did at the beginning of this year, because I read, I want to say like 10 or 11 of her books for free on Kindle Unlimited when I was starting my reading journey. I absolutely love Frida McFadden. I feel like her books are so like fun and fast-paced, and yeah, they might have plot holes, but she's such a good like introduction to mystery slash thrillers. So I read a lot of her books on there for free, so I've saved myself so much money. Like so much money. Like if I read 10 of her books, and let's say at the low end they're like $20 each, that's easily $200. I have the Natural series right here. I just put this up as a little example for this video, but I did read book 1 because it was on Kindle Unlimited, and now that I realized that I love the series and the writing, I do want to order basically every single book of the series. That's a 5-star for me. Okay, and then we also have, by the same author, the Inheritance series. So if you've been wanting to kind of dive into it and see if that book is for you, you can get it on Kindle. Okay, moving on to fantasy. I'm not the biggest fantasy reader. I do want to make it my goal to kind of dive more into fantasy this year, but I did, when I was scrolling through the Kindle Unlimited like library options, I did stumble upon some super popular ones. So if you're a fantasy reader, you might enjoy these. We have a very recent release, very popular. We have Phantasma, which is on there for free. We have the Legacy of God series, which I think is like either dark romance or dark romance means fantasy. I don't really know, but super popular series again. The whole series on there for free. We have Quicksilver, the Never After series, which is like fairy tale reimaginings. I really want to read this series because a lot of people love it. And then shockingly, for me, we also have Harry Potter books. That shocked me because I feel like Harry Potter, even the movies, are so hard to come around. Like there's only like 1 or 2 streaming services that have the rights to it. So the fact that you can read the entire Harry Potter series for free on Kindle Unlimited is wild to me. I was very shocked. And since we are doing Bookmas, I have some Christmas books that you are able to get on Kindle Unlimited for free. So we have The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. We have How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. We have Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh and Snowden by Catherine Walsh, which I've heard really good things about. There's also Merry Ever After by Tessa Bailey, who is a very popular author. And then we also have a book that I'm currently reading, which is Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. I saw this at the bookstore, very popular this year, and it costs like $27, and it's a little novella, like it's like 250 pages or something like that. So instead of paying $27 for a little mini book, I'm now able to just read it for free. And if I like it, like I've said numerous times in this video, I can just buy the physical copy. But it is actually amazing how many books I've read on my Kindle instead of having the physical copy of. Like, first of all, 90% of the books that I've read this year, I started on my Kindle, or I bought the physical books after just to have as a trophy. But imagine if I had bought every single book that I read this year, which I think I'm like at like 60 or 70 books read this year. Imagine if I had paid $25 for each and every one of those. So in my eyes, this has already kind of paid itself off. Please consider getting a Kindle. It has absolutely changed my life. I love it. It saves me so much money. Like, I actually promise. So that is it for this video. I'm pretty sure we covered everything, but if you have any questions, obviously feel free to ask in the comments. I will be down there reading all my comments, responding. Comment down below and let me know if you have a Kindle, if you're considering getting one, or if you are strictly physical book enjoyer, because obviously with everything related to do with reading, everybody's allowed to have their own taste and opinions. While you're down there, make sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe, because I post on this channel every single day for Bookmas, and then 2 to 3 times a week the rest of the year, and would absolutely love to have you join our little family. And that's it for me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.